I led 2 visualizations. One, the first day was geared towards healing our inner child. So we imagined ourselves, we imagined our wife and kids as little children. What do they need from us? At the same time with our wife, we did a visualization that was, when she was a 5-year-old girl, she imagined who she was going to marry. She imagined a prince. She imagined a knight in shining armor. Are we living up to that? Are we the knight in shining armor that 5-year-old girl imagined when she was laying in her bed, drawing her as a woman with her husband? Are we living up to that guy? Hi everyone, welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I apologize, I'm a couple weeks late on this. I was on a roll doing 2 a week for so long, and then I had my men's retreat for Men of Fire, and it got me all messed up. I had to miss that one, and then the 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and it's the same thing that happens whenever you're trying to lose weight, and one weekend turns into 10 years, but this isn't 10 years, luckily, it's just 2 weeks. I actually tried to record a podcast talking about the retreat, and I was like, I got to get this done. It was so early in the morning when I had a little bit of free time. I recorded it for like 30 minutes, and then I watched it back a day later. I was like, oh my God, you can't use that. I was falling asleep as I was doing it. So not falling asleep, we just did our Men of Fire call. It was great. Talked about Mother's Day. So this upcoming weekend is Mother's Day. And we all brainstormed and said, what are we doing for Mother's Day to make it special for our wives? And a couple guys were like, oh yeah, it's Mother's Day. So that was good for them that, we remembered it was Mother's Day, and we all talked about the different ideas we were going to do. Now, one thing I'm doing is my wife said she wants homemade pizza because we have a pizza oven in our backyard, so she loves the pizza I make. So I'm going to, on Sunday, make her some homemade pizza. She wants to spend the whole day on our patio. That'll be fun. I'll get her a dessert from somewhere. So just chill this weekend. She wants to just chill on the patio, have some pizza, and hang out. Hopefully the weather's nice. And then me and the kids are going to go out tonight on Friday when I'm recording this and get her some nice gifts. I'll have the kids make her stuff. It's more than the price of the gift that she cares about. Women like to know that you care for them. Women like to know that you put in thought and effort, that it wasn't a last minute, I grabbed a rose from the guy in the corner on my way home and grabbed a card. I've been guilty of, not many times, but I've been guilty of a couple years of being obviously forgetful about either Mother's Day or birthday or something. Most of the time I'm pretty good, but I feel bad about the couple times I was neglectful. So I'm going to make sure we didn't do it. And that's why we talk about it on these calls, to make sure we're not neglectful and we make our wives and mothers feel special this weekend because they deserve it. And that's what leaders should do. They should make the people around them feel special and feel good. So we had our Men of Fire retreat last 2 weekends ago. It's already 2 weeks ago. It's crazy. Unbelievable. And I'm going to take you through the retreat, talking about some of the activities, stories, hilarious things that happened, and powerful moments that happened, transformations the guys made, and activities we did. Give you a little behind-the-scenes look at that. It's in Wisconsin at a beautiful lake, a huge mansion lake house. This guy bought this property right on this beautiful Wisconsin lake and just decided to build this unbelievable home. And there's nothing like it around there. There's little cabins, dirt roads, and so there's just a little patch of land. He bought it, and there was a cabin there. It was called a lodge. There was a lodge there previously, and they had a picture album on the table showing what they did to this thing. They took the cabin and they lifted it up. They didn't build on top of the cabin. The cabin that was on the ground is actually the second floor of this building. So they took this cabin, they put it up on metal, I want to say stilts, but they're not stilts, on metal, some type of metal structure. I don't know how they did it. And the first floor is massive. The ceilings are, 30 feet high or something. It's crazy. And the whole second floor is this old lodge that they also renovated. And there's there's game rooms, brand new theater rooms, basketball court, multiple huge hot tubs, and they have a brand new sauna that they converted a storage facility out of, like one of those metal storage containers. They retrofitted that and made it a commercial sauna that could fit like 30 people in it. So we were in there, right next to a freezing cold lake. We went at the end of April, so it was very cold, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I'm going to take you through it now. Why do we do the retreat? We do the retreat for a breakthrough. We have our program is virtual. Men on Fire is virtual. We just had a guy join us from the UK, and he's moving to Australia. So there's people literally on the other side of the world. We have people in Hong Kong, India, a lot of people from Canada, all over the place, Germany, Ireland. So it doesn't matter. As long as you have an internet connection, you can join Men on Fire. So people join, and we've got our Zoom calls 3 times a week. We talk. We just had one, so we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday now. We just changed from Saturday to Friday so we can prepare for the weekend. So we have Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we talk and we share and we connect, and we talk about how we can show up better. It's how can I be a better father, husband, and leader today? How can I make sure I don't backtrack on my health? How can I make sure that I don't once again say, well, this is the weekend, I go off my discipline because it's the weekend. I worked so hard, I deserve a break. I worked so hard, I deserve to have some beers, I deserve to have this bag of chips. It's Mother's Day, so that means I have to have 3 glasses of wine and 2 pieces of cheesecake. All the little lies you tell yourself to make yourself feel good in that moment. It's avoiding discomfort. It's saying, no, I deserve these things. So we meet and we talk about these things so that we don't do them. We had a guy, like I said, the guy just joined us a day ago, and he said, it's like I need to make sure I stay disciplined this week, and I have multiple parties with friends and things that are happening. I can't backtrack. And simply by stating it to the universe, simply by speaking it to people, you lower the chance that that's going to happen. Because then you can hold yourself accountable, and people can hold you accountable. We know, you're one of the brothers. You're one of the guys in our tribe. We know what you're going with, so we're going to check up on you, and you can post about it and talk to us about it and share how it went. Did you succeed? Did you fail? Okay, let's do better. Let's do better next weekend. So, I mean, that's what these calls are like, and, we do them 3 times a week. So it's extremely powerful. We've had guys change their lives. I've had guys in my program for 2 years now that I've never seen in person, that I talk to on a very, very personal level, more personally than people I've known for years in person, because we're aligned in the same way. And I know deep, deep things about them, and they know things about me. So you don't have to meet in person, but why meet in person? Because whenever you have this retreat, it's just more time. It's more time together. It's more time focused. We do 3 1-hour calls. In between those calls in our program, we have stuff we do virtually. You can be as engaged as you want. You can talk to people. It's like a social media network, basically. It's a virtual group. You can be on there all day or none. It's up to you. But whenever you go away, whenever you travel, like every single person had to fly to this location. We had people from all over Canada and all over the U.S. coming. You have to fly to this location, and you're separating yourself off from everyone. You're secluding yourself and isolating yourself from your family, your friends, so that you can come back better for them. Whenever you have more time in a focused setting, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog running over those speed ramps where you're running around normal, and then you see the speed thing, you go over it, and all of a sudden you're shooting ahead. That's what this retreat is like. It's like you go there to make a breakthrough. You go there to have lots of time with people who want to change their life. I got to talk to every guy for hours and learn all about them, learn about things that were holding them back since their childhood, learn about what makes them tick, what they're struggling with now, talk them through it. The guys met each other and found out different things about each other. We're sitting around the campfire for hours at night, and we're not bitching about our wives like I know some men's groups do. We're not drinking beers. We're drinking a seltzer water and talking about how we can't wait to go home and be a better husband. Like, we can't wait to take what we learned and just really show up for our families. That's the kind of thing that we talk about. It's, I'm tired of snapping at my kids. I'm never going to do it again. So the retreat was split up into phases this year. Phase 1 was burning our old self. Phase 2 was building our new self. Because we're all about identity. It's massively important in my own life, and the concepts that I teach is identity. And many of us have an identity we need to shed. We've had bad habits and patterns from our past life that we need to shed. So what did we do is guys got there on Thursday, and we had some food. I had steak waiting for them. We ate, then we went to the theater room, and everyone stood in front of the screen, shared a picture of themselves from their past life, and we said, okay, we don't want to return to that person. For me, I shared a fat picture of me at the beach with my shirt off when I looked miserable. And I was standing up there in front of everyone saying, I'm never going to return to that guy. And I described him. I said, this is what that guy was feeling. This is the pain that guy was feeling. This is what he went through. This is what caused him to feel like that, chasing comfort. These are the things that caused that guy to look that way, to feel that way. Then these are the impacts that those actions had on his family. I am never going to return to that man. And every guy did that. Every guy stood up and said, this is the guy I'm not going to return to. We're going to leave him here at the lake. And then throughout the next day, we had visualizations we did, and different activities that all revolved around defining this person that we are going to leave there, that we're not going to take home with us. And then at night, we had all sat around the campfire and had our pieces of paper. We all read from it and said, this is the guy that we're leaving behind. And we threw it in the fire and burned it. And it was funny, some of the guys, their papers wouldn't burn, and it took longer. And we were like, oh yeah, that part of you really wants to hold on. Like that greed, that selfishness really wants to hold on. It's got a grip on you, and then finally it burned away. The second day was all about building ourselves up. So at the end of the first night, everyone said they felt, like after they burned their thing, everyone's like, man, I feel free. I feel lighter. Many of them shared very personal, deep things about themselves. And it was, I need to get this off my chest. This is something that I've held for decades. Or even one guy shared, who's in his 40s, shared something that he's held since he was a child. And he said, I need to leave this here. This has been weighing me down for 40 years. Shared. He said, I feel so light now. It's finally off my head. I finally am not thinking about it every single moment. And finally, the focus is free. I use this analogy a lot, and that is the beach ball. It's whenever you have something within you that you haven't dealt with. It's like pushing a beach ball underwater. All your strength and focus is focused on one thing. You can't really be present. And as soon as you share it with somebody, you release it out into the world, and you can finally be present and show up for people. But you have to release it. If you don't release it, it stays with you. So a lot of guys this weekend was about releasing that. And I told them as soon as we showed up, I said, don't let this weekend pass and not speak your piece. Do not let this weekend pass and not have a breakthrough. Every guy did. So day 2 is all about building yourself up. Let's define the vision of the man we want to become. What kind of husband do we want to become? What kind of father do we want to become? What does that guy think? What does that guy feel? What are the actions that guy takes? And what are specific situations that we want to define? Here's what I mean. For example, here's the man I want to be around my family. I want to be warm. I want to be loving. I want them to feel safe and secure when they're with me. So that means I need to think a certain way, speak a certain way, and do certain things. Day 1 was about, what does that guy not do? Who's the person we don't want to be? What does he think, feel, say, and do? We wrote all those things down and we burned them. Day 2 is about, who is the man we want to be? What does he say, think, feel, do? We wrote those things down And then we spoke them to the group and said, this is what I'm leaving here with. One of the things that I said was, I want to be even more present. And I talk about being present all the time. It's a lot of my brand is about being present. So even me, who talks about it all the time, I can still recognize moments when I am not present. It's usually always when I'm in the middle of doing a project or I've got a deadline or something I'm trying to achieve. A lot of times that is what steals my presence from me. The thing I'm working on takes precedent over my child who's talking to me or my wife who's talking to me. And I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I was rewatching a video of me and Nathan on our camping trip. He bought me reservations to a cabin for a camping trip, and I made a podcast about that, and I talked about it. And I was watching this video of us just hanging out around the fire talking, and there were some moments where I saw my son looking at me. He said something to me. I wasn't on my phone, but I was in my head thinking about something, and that made me feel bad, is that my son was looking at me, speaking to me, yet I was not there responding to him because I was in my head. I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know what I was thinking about. And a nice guy in my group, he said, Chris, don't worry about it. You're probably planning your next activity, because they watched me just plan activities the whole weekend. And I said, I appreciate that, but who knows? Like I don't want to be not present. And I don't want to miss a moment. I don't want there to be a moment when my wife or kids are needing me and they're looking at me and I'm not there for them. Like I really have to understand the impact I have on people. I have to, as a father, understand how much I mean to my kids and to my wife. How much the words I say matter to them. Because a lot of times when we hurt people, part of it is selfishness, part of it is neglect, part of it is us being mean. Another part is not appreciating our own value. We don't see ourselves as important as other people do. So we don't think the words we speak are as meaningful as they are to other people. Like whenever you say something really hurtful to your wife, part of that is because you don't think of yourself as much as she thinks of you. And I don't mean in quantity, I mean in quality. Like she thinks of you as a bigger person, as a more important person than you do of yourself. You don't have as much self-worth as she does to you. She thinks you're worth more than you think you're worth. And because of that, you don't value the words that you speak. I know that can be the case for me. So I have to remind myself, not in a selfish way, not in, oh, Chris, you're such a great person, you're so important. But I do have to say, you're so important. I'm not important because I'm a king. I'm important because my kids and wife love me so much. Does that make sense? I'm trying to speak this in a way where it makes sense. It's a complicated topic, and it's just me staring at a camera, knowing you're listening. So this is something that is important to me to realize, is how important I am to other people. Not divinely appointed importance, like a king, but the words I speak matter more to other people than I think they do. So the judgments I make can be uplifting or crippling. Moments of lack of control can be destructive. A smile can brighten someone's day more than I think it does. My judgmental look on my face is more destructive than I think it is, because I mean more to my son than I mean to myself. I mean more to my wife more than I mean to myself. I mean more to my daughter more than I mean to myself. So that puts another level of responsibility on self-actualization, on self-awareness, on how I see myself, on my identity, as we talk about all the time. So part of my identity has to be understanding how other people see me and my importance to them. In understanding my words, facial expression, eyes, everything has extreme importance to it. Because I'm married, because I have kids. If I was single, if it was just me, it wouldn't have as much importance. But at the same time, you can think about this even if you don't have a family. Like if you're a boss or you're at work, like maybe you do have extreme importance to a lot of the people you interact with, to your employees. Maybe somebody who you don't think about really, really looks up to you and respects you. So they value you far, far more than you value them. So when you say something to them it's extremely impactful, and to you it's just a throwaway thing. And we all have the opportunity to take that into consideration and to act on it or to dismiss it. Like you can say, oh, that's too much for me to think about. Or you can take that responsibility on and say, no, I want to, like part of my legacy, part of the way I want to be remembered is how I make people feel. For me personally, that is something that I take on, that I want to think about. And just to give you a little example, I work on my facial expression, and a guy this morning in our call talked about, we're like, this weekend, because it's our Friday call, he said, we're going to prepare for this weekend. This weekend, what do we have to focus on that we don't want to have Monday come around and say, man, I screwed that up. I didn't show up good. And one guy said, my facial expressions. And I said, man, I can really relate to that. That used to be really hard for me, was like hiding judgmental negative emotions when I didn't like something. I've gotten much, much better at it as I've ran multiple. Building businesses forced me to grow as a person. That's the truth. Had I stayed and being a teacher forced me to grow too, because I was in front of hundreds of middle schooler kids every single day, and they are brutal and ruthless. If you have middle school age children, you know that can be the case. Now imagine 100 of them in a room every single day for 180 days. That was 14 years of my life. So that forced me to grow personally as well. But nothing forced me to grow as much as starting businesses, because 100% of my success is dependent on me as a person. So the only way I can be successful as a person is the only way I can be successful as a business person is if me as a person becomes successful. Like my speaking ability, my ability to relate to people, my ability to be disciplined and organized and professional. The level at which I grow, the level at which I personally develop, is the level to which my business will grow eventually. And I know that. So a lot of what I do is the tasks, but a lot of my day is also me building me, because I know all the success in my life will come from me building me. It's not things I take. It's my ability to give. My ability to provide value and give to people will equal my ability, let me rephrase that. My ability to, because I'm just coming up with this stuff, I'm just thinking my thoughts out loud to you. This is like an open journal that you're looking into. My ability to provide value and help people will equal the success of my business, is what I'm trying to say. And also, the level at which I become will be the level to which my business rises to. Is another good way to say that. And I kind of forget where I was started with that little train of thought, but that's what I focus on. And a guy was talking about his facial expressions. That's what we were talking about on the call. So one of the things I've worked on is making people feel. That's right, making people feel. So I noticed with my children, if occasionally my kids do stuff that disgusts me. My son's 11, my daughter's 9. They do things that disgust me sometimes. Like I've been taking Nathan to the gym. He went to the gym this morning with me, 5:30 a.m. And we're in my truck. I packed 2 water bottles, one for me, one for him. We're leaving the truck. I had to get mine. He goes, Dad, that's my water bottle. I'm like, okay. So I hand it to him. He's like, I don't want it. I'm like, okay. And he goes, actually, I do want it. I'm like, okay. Hand it back to him. He says, actually, I don't want it. This is his unfunny way of making a joke and playing around with me. So this is like me early in the morning, tired, want to start my day, want to get to the gym. I've given up this me time so that I can bring my son into it. Like, I no longer, that my morning gym routine time is now also my son. My 11-year-old son is going to go in middle school. So, like, normally it's just me with headphones on, listening to like Goggins and listening to a podcast and building myself. But now it's my son not giving me a water bottle, making a prank on me. So at 5:30 a.m. So at that point, I had a very annoyed look on my face. It's like, okay. And I could feel myself getting annoyed. He's like, Dad, I'm just joking. I said, okay, got it. So he walked in with one water bottle because he said he didn't want it. And we're in there working out, and I'm taking a drink. And he's like, Dad, that's my water bottle. I said, no, you said you didn't want a water bottle. I brought two. You told me to leave it in the truck. So this is my water bottle. And he's like, no, it's mine. I said, well, let's just share it then. So then we shared his water bottle. And there was so much, not to gross you out, the water bottle cap was so disgusting after he drank from it. Like, I drank from it, he drank from it, and then I put it in my mouth. I was like, what is this all over this? Where did this come from? And how is it so wet? And like, what is this? And like, legit disgusted look on my face. I'm looking at it, I was like, what is... That's the kind of situation I'm talking about for me personally. Is how could I have approached that differently? You know, could I have used humor instead? Yes, I could have used humor instead of disgust. And you might be like, Chris, dude, you're being way too hard on yourself. Like, there will be situations, maybe, but for me personally, that's important to me. For me personally, it's what are these little situations that we can identify that we need to change. And to circle back to our day 2 around the campfire, this is what we worked on. And I said, no, situations like that, I want to spread warmth instead of judgment. Even though it was disgusting, even though it was annoying, it was inconvenient, super annoying, right? Yes, all of that's true. But I don't need to make him feel like his father is disgusted at him. I could have taught him the same lesson with humor. I could easily have said something funny about him making the water bottle gross, and he would have learned the same lesson. And that was, that's just one moment from the 2 hours I spent with my son this morning, because we worked out at the gym, and then we came home, and instead of I've also, I used to do the Stairmaster or the elliptical or the treadmill for cardio after I work out. Got to stay lean. But instead of that, I was like, well, I could play basketball, because it doesn't matter. As long as my heart rate up and I'm burning calories, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Plus, I want to get better at basketball. And so now with Nathan, now we do 15, 20 minutes of basketball after we work out, because it's cardio, and we get to spend time together, and we're both getting better at the skill. So good, win, win, win. So that was just one moment to give you a situation. So back to the retreat. Day 2, that's what we do. All of our activities are built around building ourselves into the person that we must be to make sure this life doesn't go wasted, so that we do not waste our life. And so we don't have this crippling pain of, I failed as a father. That's what it is. And I realized for me, it's like, what is your number one pain that you feel? It's when I feel like I failed my family. That's what it is. It's when I feel like I'm failing them in some way. That's my number one pain that I have now, this age, about to turn 38 in a month. It's whenever I feel like I'm failing my family, that's my biggest pain. So I want to avoid that pain by building myself, by being disciplined, by living a life, by intentionally making decisions that don't make me fail my family. So day 2 is all about building ourselves with every activity. We took about a mile jog out to a highway and jogged along the highway even, and found a little park, got in the circle and talked about this. We talked about specific situations. Who do we need to be for our family? And everyone around a circle, Beautiful day. It was unbelievable. Then we jogged back. And we jogged straight back to the big heated pool. We did a ab workout. We did planks and leg raises and all kind of stuff around the pool. And then we jogged straight to the dock and jumped right into the lake. Like I said, it was sunny out. There were bald eagles diving into the lake and grabbing fish right in front of us. And we just jogged around the highway, came back, did a workout next to the pool, jogged right into the lake, jumped in. This guy did a backflip, and he was talking to us. He was like, "Yeah, man, I finally felt like a kid again this weekend. Like I felt like I was just free. Like I let so much go, and I feel so light, and I just felt free. So I just ran down there, did a backflip. I would have never have done that." He's only in his 30s too. He's like mid-30s, young 30s. This guy. But it doesn't really matter what age you are. It just matters. The thing that's really important isn't like the age in terms of how old you come off. It's the weight that you carry. It's the burden that you carry around. It's the mental and emotional toll life has taken on you. And the amount of weight you haven't released from yourself. If you have not released this burden and the weight from yourself, then you will come across as very old. Because you're just weathered down. And you are aging. You speed up your age with stress. It's not just a philosophical thing that I'm talking about. It's a fact. It's biological. Stress is one of the biggest factors in aging. And it happens to your body, kills your testosterone, and it also, just the way you come off, your energy and your vibe, your optimism, whether you're hopeful or negative and toxic, it all has to do with the weight that you carry, the burden that you carry. That's why maybe that was the best health thing we did that weekend. It wasn't the workouts. It was releasing the stress from our lives. So leaving it there at the lake and burning it. So yeah, a lot of deep stuff happened. In terms of activities, I spent a lot of time finding this location because your environment is extremely powerful. Like your environment is massively impactful to how you think, feel, and what you do. For me, when I want to get inspired, I know if I walk out into the woods with a little notepad, I'll have ideas will just come to me. Leave the cell phone at home. It's just me, notepad, pencil. I know I'll have ideas. So this environment is breathtaking. If you follow me on Instagram, I post all the time. I posted tons of videos and pictures about this, and you can look it up. So found a place with a beautiful lake. So every morning at 6 a.m., we woke up, went outside, met on the dock, and jumped in the lake. The water we checked the water temperature. The water temperature was 42 degrees. The air temperature was 27 degrees. Imagine that. That's what we did. Me and all these guys from around the world. Flew here. Beautiful place. Walked down. The dock had ice on it. The worst part wasn't even the water. It was stepping in bare feet with swimming trunks on and no shirt on and just stepping on ice and then jumping into a freezing cold lake. But after every guy got in there, we're loving it. We are loving it. We're screaming and shouting and giving high fives. Guys are staying in there for 3-5 minutes. You feel so good. It felt so good later in the day, guys just kept going in the water. They kept on walking in. So you're in there, you're freezing, and then there's a massive heated pool. There's 2 giant hot tubs and a huge sauna. So I woke up earlier, turned the sauna on for the guys to make sure it was nice and warm. You suffer, you freeze, and then you go cool, and then you go warm up. I hired this unbelievable personal chef for the weekend, and he's done massive events. He's operated restaurants around the country. He's a super high-end, great chef. He was the best option. Like they give you 5 options. I picked the best one. Last year I did the second best option because the pictures of the food looked unbelievable. And this guy just, no offense, blew that guy out of the water. And it was the best option. It was so, so good. Some of the best food I've ever had. It was all of us sitting around the table. Him and his assistant were there. He had a couple assistants making food. Then he'd come out. He'd talk about where all the meat came from. We had duck, bison, Cornish, I think it's Cornish gaming hen, something like that. Obviously steak and chicken and so many different meats. He made a salad for us one day. He like specially picked out where the lettuce came from, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is the best lettuce I've ever had." And the one day for lunch, we had 5 different meatballs, 5 different types of meats in the shape of a meatball on skewers. So that was unbelievable. One of them was some wild hog that tasted like the best barbecue ribs you could ever eat. Breakfast was like eggs, bacon, but it made in an unbelievable way. He made French toast that was unbelievable. Blueberry pancakes. And I told him coming in, it was like, this is a health conscious group. We want like mostly protein and vegetables and some fruit. And then like, it comes out with the one day blueberry pancakes. I was like, all right, well, we can have some carbs today. So we did. I ate it, man. The one day he even made one of the meals, he made a dessert, and we ate it. It was delicious. Some of the best steak I've ever had this guy made. He made it. One of the things I will remember is the soup. He made this soup for lunch, and this was the first day. The first day was perfect how the weather was, because the first day was cold, rainy, and that was the old self day. That was the shed your old identity day. So it was cold and rainy and kind of miserable outside. And he made this warm sausage, had sausage in its soup with 1,000 ingredients. It was like a little spicy and had all these different flavors in it with like little bits of sausage in it. It was the best soup I've ever had. And I will remember that meal. I also remember the lettuce thing he made. I don't remember what it is. I took pictures of it and I posted it. But I told him, I said, yeah, next year we're booking you again. Like you've got all the guys pitched together a bunch of money. We gave him a huge tip at the end because every single guy was like, this is amazing. He was so personable. If you want his information, he's in the Wisconsin area, but I'm sure he travels. Just send me an email. I'm happy to spread his info along. But what was I saying? For next year, I was like, how are you with outdoor foods? Like, how are you with outdoor meats and cooking? And he goes, that's my specialty. I said, okay, well, next year I want an outdoor open flame cooking session, like cooking meat section. And he's like, I'm down. I'm doing it. So we reserved a place. We reserved him. It's happening for next year. It'll be around if you're planning on joining us by then. It'll be usually end of April, beginning of May, so leave your weekend open. We go Thursday to Sunday, but he'll be there. Open flame meat session. Be an unbelievable time. So food was great. I spent too much time on food, but I started reliving everything. So food was amazing. I led 2 visualizations. One, the first day was geared towards healing our inner child. So we imagined ourselves, we imagined our wife and kids as little children, and what do they need from us? What do we as a little child in ourselves? What does that boy need from us? He needs to know that everything's okay. And at the same time with our wife, we did a visualization that was, when she was a 5-year-old girl, she imagined who she was going to marry. She imagined a prince. She imagined a knight in shining armor. Are we living up to that? Are we the knight in shining armor that 5-year-old girl imagined when she was laying in her bed, drawing her as a woman with her husband? Are we living up to that guy? So that was powerful. Second day we did another one. And so we ate great food. I recorded some content. We went on a jog. We jumped in the lake. We did multiple workouts. And I gave the guys a lot of free time to, play basketball and tetherball and checkers and chess and ping pong and pool. And there's just tons of stuff to do there. There was an unbelievable time. So why did we do the retreat? For a breakthrough. We go to the retreat to have a massive breakthrough within ourselves. And the guys did. They did. There's one guy in particular talked about, he as a child did something that he felt really, really shameful for. He's carried guilt around for decades. And they finally shared with his sisters, like decades later, what he did, and they were like, "That's nothing. Like, why are you worried about that?" And they just moved on. But he carried that with him for years, and then he shared that all with all of us, and he's like, "That's always bothered me." So he had that weight lifted off him. We had another guy who, went on a religious, basically pilgrimage for weeks. And he said, I was searching for something. And he said, I didn't find it. He said, but I did find it here this weekend, which blew me away. He shared that with everyone around the fire the last night. It's like, I found what I was looking for this weekend with all of you. So that was extremely powerful. And my goal was to provide value to them. It's to help everyone there find what they need. And that absolutely happened. So, yes, having another one next year around April or May. We'll probably have another event in between there to be determined. We'll see. Usually it's like a more action-based one, but we'll see. If you have any questions on any of that, reach out to me. But if you're interested in Men of Fire, it is our Father Transformation program. That is where we get disciplined, we get ripped, and we become the leader our families deserve. That is what it is. You can see on our website, you can find it at risingfather.com. You can go on Instagram, it's menoffire.com as well. But you can find testimonials or transformations before and afters. There's nothing like it out there. It's about becoming a selfless leader for our family. So feel free to reach out if you're interested in that whatsoever. But hopefully that gave you a behind the scenes look at what the retreat's like and why we do it. And I'm happy to finally get back on the podcast train.